Hello guys, welcome to a new section. In this one we're going to develop different towers for the game, and I specifically made them work very differently one from another, so we can learn something new every time we're making a new tower. And we're gonna start with a simple one. We're gonna start with a crossbow tower, but before we do that, let's make a folder for scripts, because we're gonna have lots of new scripts and it can become messy. Let's make a folder and let's call it scripts. I'm gonna take all of the scripts and drag them in here. Very nice. Now I think we can make a first tower, and also we can make it rotate towards the enemy. That's what we need to do in this video. It's gonna be very simple to do, and logic is gonna be super simple to what we had on the enemy over here with the rotation. Alright, so first let's set up the tower. We're gonna go to meshes, towers, and there is building one, crossbow tower. That's the first tower I want to make, because logic for this one gonna be the easiest one, I guess. We're gonna take these two objects and we're gonna drag them into the scene somewhere here. Now let's do prefab unpack completely. Then we want to make a parent for this one, tower crossbow, and then we want to take the tower crossbow itself and put it on the top of a building. We just need to bring it up. I think it should be something like 1.5 on the Y. Then let's see it from the top by clicking over here, and let's place it somewhere in the center. Just approximately. Yeah, this should do it. Okay, very good. Now we need to apply materials to the models. So we're gonna open them. We're gonna select crossbow, head, and building one. Go to materials and choose main material. Now same we need to do for the emission. We're gonna take this white emission over here, click materials, type white, and choose emission white. Then we need to take emission part 1, emission part 2, and emission blue, choose emission, and type emission blue. Okay. This is good. Now we have a pretty and shiny tower, and our goal is to make it rotate towards the enemy. For that, I just want to place prefab of the enemy over here, and I think I'm gonna disable the respawn functionality on the enemy manager for now. Let's do 0 and 0. Because we just need one enemy to test this logic. Then let's go to Asset, Scripts, and inside we're gonna make a new one, and we're gonna name it as tower. Okay, we've got a script. Over here, first we want to have reference to the enemy, and for now I'm gonna make it public. Public transform, current enemy. Then we need a header, tower setup. And in the tower setup, we need to know what is the tower's head. What is the main part of the tower that we're going to rotate around and use it to point towards the enemy. I'm just gonna do serialize field, private transform, tower head. Simple as that. We don't need to think of something super special for this one. Then, because we want to rotate this object, we want to know what is the rotation speed. So I'm gonna do serialize field, private, float rotation speed. Now let's open update, and inside of this method we're gonna make new method. We're gonna type rotate towards enemy, and as you can see it is underlined because we don't have any method like this. But if we put our cursor over here and press Alt Enter, it will allow us to generate method. Alright, this is good. Now it will be called in the update, and we can write functionality over here. And as I mentioned before, functionality gonna be super similar to what we did over here. But here we did ignore Y. On the tower, we don't need to ignore Y. Tower is supposed to rotate entirely towards the enemy. So we're gonna do vector3 direction to enemy first. We need to know where it should be pointing. And we get in direction by using current enemy position minus tower head position. This will give us a direction. Then we want to create a rotation that will make it look towards the enemy. For that, we're going to type Quartonian look rotation equals to, and over here we have a Unity pre-made method that will help us to get what we need. We can just type Quartonian look rotation and pass it direction to enemy. That's going to be its forward direction. All right, now we have a look rotation and we have starting rotation, right? I mean the current rotation. And we can use these two values and we can use lerp to make it rotate smoothly towards the enemy. We're going to do vector3 rotation equals to Quartonian dot lerp from tower head rotation towards look rotation. And as a t, we're going to use rotation speed multiplied by time dot delta time. I did explain how lerp works in this video when we made enemy face the target. And also, and just in case, I will attach video about lerp to this lecture so you can open it up and just extend your knowledge if you like to do so. Now over here we can see we have an error message, and that is because we're trying to make vector3 equals to Quartonian. These two are a little bit different, especially a Quartonian. So Quartonian, as you know, is a rotation, right? But it's a bit more complicated than that. The simple example of a Quartonian looks like this, and it's done like that so computer can understand how to rotate the object. But for us, for humans, it's easier to understand degrees. And over here, in case of what we have, we need to have vector3 to make it work just like we want. So how can we deal with this? We can simply convert the complex Quartonian rotation that we have over here into a vector3. It's going to be a simple format that usually it's easier to understand. So we're going to type Euler angles, and this will turn it into a vector3 format. Now that we have it, we can use it to rotate tower as we want. So you're going to type tower head dot rotation equals to, and here again we need to type Quartonian, so Unity can rotate object as it needs to do. But over here, instead of look rotation, we're going to type Euler rotation. Alrighty, this is how it's done. This is how it's supposed to be. Now let's save everything. Let's go back to Unity. We need to set up the tower. Let's put the script on the tower. And let's drag basic enemy over here so we can test the rotation. For tower head, we're supposed to use this tower crossbow head object. We can focus on it and see what is it. So this is what tower is supposed to use to face the enemy. As you can see, there is a emission part. So we need to take this emission part too and make it as a child of a head. And on the tower crossbow, we can set rotation speed maybe to 10. Okay. Now let's go to play mode. And we can see tower's head rotating towards the enemy. Perfect. I love it. That's all what we need to do in this video. This was pretty simple. Even though this method can be confusing, just believe me, it is confusing. Quartonians and rotations are very confusing for me as well. Sometimes I have very hard time to make it work correctly, but nevertheless, sometimes we have to, overcome the difficulties to make it work as we need. And also this is one of the simplest way to do it, so I think this is what we're gonna use. Just in case, I'm gonna put comments over this one, so maybe it's a bit easier to understand. Here comes the magic of editing. Boom. Now we have comments here, and you can see them, and maybe it will make it a bit easier to understand. Now let's wrap this up, and let's go to the next video.